It was a tough August for President Biden, from the chaotic exit from Afghanistan to the rise of the Delta variant to a slowdown in job growth. The Washington Post says Biden badly needs a new beginning, while Politico says there's no good news for Biden after a rough summer, putting Democrats on high alert. A new Civics poll shows Mr. Biden's approval rating has now slipped to 41%, to the lowest of his young presidency. And tonight, President Biden's approval rating is underwater in 7 key congressional districts. Now, these are GOP-aligned polls, but they do show Biden's net approval rating averaging -7 points in those 7 districts, spanning 6 states. Joining me now in studio, former press secretary for House Democrats Rochelle Ritchie and co-founder of Paloma Media, Nancy Rommelmann. Thank you both for being here. Rochelle, let's start with you. Are these numbers, do you think, going to drag down the president's agenda and the party next year?
I hope not, but you also have to think about the fact that this is also a redistricting year as well. So we are going to see some lines changing, some congressional lines changing, and that's going to have an impact on Democrats already. So now they're going into this with Joe Biden having these very low approval ratings. And I think it's important to point out that these approval ratings, the drop is really because of independents. It went from 46% approval rating to 36% approval rating. So it's not necessarily that he's losing within his own party. Is that he is losing with independents, who are those swing voters, and that could be detrimental to the Democrats during the midterms for sure.
Is this Afghanistan, do you think, primarily? And how does he fix it?
I think it's Afghanistan. I think a lot of it is Afghanistan. The reason why is because this poll is coming out right after we saw everything that happened. Emotions were running high, but also you have COVID-19. And I think that the Democrats, especially with Joe Biden, they've got to get a stronger message out there, and they have to find a way to unite the unvaccinated and the vaccinated and find sensible ways where it doesn't seem like they're blaming other Americans or those 50% of Americans that are not vaccinated. Because it's not just because they don't want to get vaccinated. For some people, it is religious reasons or health concerns. All
right, Nancy, let's bring you in on this. 7 swing districts in trouble, according to these polls. You want to handicap the midterms for us, or is it too early?
I'm not going to handicap the midterms, but what I am going to say is that, you know, as much as Democrat or Republican operatives would like things to go a certain way for their guy or their gal, you know, events have a way of interceding. You know, I think we did have some control in Afghanistan about leaving and how we left, and it probably could have rolled out better. And so that will affect some people. But COVID, I think, is the big one. People, you know, I think Biden is going to have a press conference tomorrow or make an announcement about maybe some new ways that we're going to address it. But you've just got people continually insecure. And we're at a point now where we're actually going like at each other's throats about this. I mean, we saw some of the stuff that's happened in school districts, you know, people just marching in and saying, I am not going to wear a mask. Some data came out, I think, yesterday saying, you know, people being behind masks is down 20%. It's hard to keep up with this and to look like you're doing the right thing when, you know, the virus to a certain extent has been politicized and is, to another extent is in control.
What do you want to hear from the president tomorrow?
Well, I think he's got to get some good return on investment in terms of how he is appealing to people. We've had some campaigns, which I think, I mean, we had like a TikTok guy out of the White House. I don't know exactly who it was meant to appeal to. I think you have to have someone, a friend of mine said, you know, get someone with a lot of great data and get him to go on Joe Rogan or somebody that's got a big, you know, sort of somewhat skeptical base, but also receptive base. We've got to get people vaccinated. You know, the vaccines really work. And I think if we can get politics out of it, people will know that and get vaccinated.
Let's move to the next subject and tell a story that our producer told us about today. He was visiting Richmond and went to see Monument Avenue, which he said was absolutely beautiful and spectacular. And when he asked for directions, he was pointed away from the Arthur Ashe statue. He didn't even realize it was there. He did go back later just to see it. But as we're seeing here now, the Robert E. Lee statue was just taken down this morning. And here's some of what the people who were there for this today said.
It just represents some level of physical, you know, representation of acceptance. The country's finally accepting that's not our hero and never was.
We're no longer proud of that Confederate history. We know that history is there. We're not erasing that history, but removing that symbol is just that. It's removing the symbol.
Rochelle, people may not realize this, but That Arthur Ashe statue is the only one on Monument Avenue still standing today. So what does that say about where we are in this issue?
I think it says that we still don't get it. I do not think that removing statues of Confederates is really going to do anything to address systemic racism in this country. What we want is we want bills on the table. We want legislation that says that you are not going to be able to brutalize people of color and Black Americans in this country without some sort of penalty. This is optics. This has absolutely nothing, in my opinion, to do with really addressing the issues of police brutality and the criminalization of Black Americans in this country. And so it's great they got the statue removed, but as the last man in that interview said, it doesn't change the history. It doesn't change anything at all.
Nancy, has this gotten us to the point where maybe we shouldn't put Lee on a pedestal? We know that, but should he be in a museum?
You know, first of all, I agree with Rochelle completely. And I also think that you kind of should put it in museum. You know, we shouldn't forget history. We absolutely should not forget our mistakes. We don't have to have them in our eyeballs all the time, every time we drive the car. But you should be able to talk to the previous generations and say, look, and just here's an example of what we used to venerate. I did, and I agree, it's optics. And, you know, it's kind of easier to do optics than it is to do hard work. We see that often. But I did read a quote in the Washington Post today that I thought was a little bit touching, which was when the statue was erected, somebody said, and it will be a Black man that takes it down. And in fact, the contractor that took it down today was Black. And I think, you know, for whatever it's worth, that did make people feel good.
All right, let's move to our third and final topic. And this one, Nancy, we'll start with you on. It's the Texas abortion law. There's been some back and forth between Texas and a city you and I both know well, Portland. We both spent a lot of time there. Essentially, Portland's planning to protest by banning goods and services from the Lone Star State. But at the same time, the lieutenant governor of Texas responded saying, bottom line, Portland's a dumpster fire and Texas is thriving. So the air is pretty fresh there, Nancy. I know you were just there recently, as was I. Does he have a point at least about the problems?
Well, I don't know if I would call it dumpster fire, but I was there 2 days ago, and talk about going for optics as opposed to going to change. And I put on Twitter, it reminds me kind of like of a teenager. Like, you're going to make this big show of like how compassionate you are, and you're like standing with your people. Meanwhile, your room is a mess. You didn't gas up mom's car. Portland has a lot of problems. And I think instead of sort of like coming out and showing, you know, you're in solidarity, which actually does absolutely nothing for the law, work on your problems, gain your own tensile strength and commitment to your people, and then go out and try to help other people that you feel need help. I think the city council's move is more sort of showboating on the part of the city council in Portland.
Rochelle, is this showboating or is it bare knuckle politics?
Well, when I saw the tweet that he put out and he said that Portland doesn't care about police and doesn't care about babies, I thought to myself, well, you don't care about sexual assault victims. You don't care about employees, because it's not necessarily these big corporations and the people that own them that are really going to be impacted. It's those workers. It's the people that are working for these companies that are going to be impacted. And so I would say back to the Texas, Lieutenant Governor, you don't care about sexual assault victims and you don't care about workers.
Coming from a strategist and a former press secretary, they might use your help, I'm sure. Rochelle, Ritchie, it's always good to have you. Nancy Rommelmann, thanks for your time as well. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
You are being watched.